Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm John Barbin, and today we're going to talk about the beatdown TCU is in the middle of putting on North Carolina. I know every other channel's probably going to talk about North Carolina, but that's not who deserves to be talked about here. This is the TCU story. This is not the UNC story. So that's why they get the shirt. They've earned the shirt, and that's why we get the purple accent highlights. I don't know if you can see that. I've got we can change the lights around here, so whoever earns the shirt usually earns the lighting back here too. Anyway, so what can we say here? We didn't know. Okay, so we'll do the 2 minutes about UNC, and then we'll this is really about TCU here. No one knew what the hell was going to happen with Belichick. It was you can't not be curious, and people that we know at UNC. Me and some friends know some people at UNC, and they just had the thought that this is either going to be a complete train wreck or it might be interesting. But no one thought it would be much. No one thought it was going to be anything in between. And so far, it looks like it's a train wreck. And you know what? He didn't have a lot of good players. TCU has much better players. It's reasonable that this didn't go that well. I mean, Josh Hoover is a really good QB. They have legitimate players that TCU routinely sends players to the NFL. They were just in the national championship game. Say what you will about the final result. They beat Michigan along the way. They won 12 games that season, just a couple seasons ago. They were competitive last year in the Big 12. A couple of bounces go the right way, and they could have been in the Big 12 championship game. So this is a legitimate team. This team sends multiple players to the NFL on a regular basis. And now, not that UNC doesn't. You know, they've sent Drake May to the NFL and some others. So UNC can recruit decent players. UNC can field a decent team. They just don't happen to have enough players right now. And it might be silly to think they could put it together that quickly with Belichick, especially in the offseason. He lost a bunch of players. So, you know, he was cobbling together as good of a team as he could in as short of a time as he could. And, you know, there's just not enough people on the field to compete with a team like TCU. As of the time of record, I mean, there's still a few minutes left in the fourth quarter. It's like 48-14. I mean, we could go over the stats here, the box score. It doesn't matter. Whatever number you look at, it's just so out of whack and just completely out of balance into TCU's favor. Like right now, we're at 522 yards for TCU, 222 for UNC. Oddly, the time of possession is only off by a minute, which is bizarre because the rushing totals right now are 240 yards for TCU to 50 for UNC. So I suppose you don't need to actually gain yards on the ground to chew up clock. And TCU was scoring so quickly on fumbles and just all kinds of short fields, and it just long runs and big strike offense. So it just, I mean, I guess when you put up 48 points, you can't grind the clock down and also put that many points up. So it's maybe it's actually normal for the time of possession to not look that out of balance when you score 48. You can't score 48 points slow. It just takes it would take too long. So. But anyways, it's a complete and utter beatdown here. The opening drive looked great. UNC went like a hot knife through butter straight down the field. Everything they did worked. It only took them 4 or 5 plays to score 83 yards. And then after that, they've just been completely annihilated by TCU here. So what does this mean? So I think my TCU plus 2.5 bet's going to cash. So I know there's still 2 minutes left, but I'm holding on. I think it'll cash. Anyways, so a little bit of sarcasm there. Let's see here. I don't know what to say. Hoover looks good. Everything looked good. See, this is the thing. I mean, obviously, you've got to be happy if you're TCU. It's a power 4 win. No matter how weak the Tar Heels look, it doesn't matter. This is not an FCS opponent. This isn't a Group of 5 opponent. Even if they played like a Group of 5 opponent or maybe even an FCS opponent, but on the ledger, it still counts as a Power 4 opponent that you just beat. Now let's not get over our skis thinking we just beat Iowa State or somebody like that caliber, or like this isn't this is. I just don't know what this tells us about the Horned Frogs if UNC's this bad. you've got to feel good that your team is just clicking on all cylinders. It's the players have to feel good just seeing things work, like run a play and it works. Like that's got to build some confidence. It's not going to be this easy when they get into Big 12 play against the other teams in the Big 12 that are going to be competitive for the Big 12 championship. So it's going to be tougher against Iowa State. It's going to be tougher against Texas Tech. If Kansas State can keep it together for a game, they still should be competitive. So it's not like they're just going to do this to everybody in the Big 12, but it's nice to see a team put another team away and convert like and execute and just look like how a good team is supposed to look against a weak team. I guess that's what I'm trying to say here. It turns out the Tar Heels are a weak team, and it turns out TCU's a good team, and TCU, a good team, should lay a beating on a weaker team, and that's just what they did. They just were better than them in all phases of the game. I don't know if I want to say they outcoached them, but they're just to a man better. They're just everywhere you look, they're better. Like this is just the better team. I don't know what else to say about it. So TCU fans, take the win, but maybe don't think that you're going to be 38 points better than everyone in the Big 12, because my guess here is the Tar Heels just aren't that good. But that's not to take away from the Horned Frogs. I picked the Horned Frogs in this game, and I also expect the Horned Frogs to be one of the final four teams in the Big 12 for the Big 12 championship game. So just like last year, I think by the second last weekend of the year last year, there were still 8 teams still that had a mathematical shot at the Big 12 championship game. So this year, I think TCU is still going to be one of those teams. I have tickets to the TCU Iowa State game, so I'm going to be out there for a wedding. And as long as they announce the time of that game at a favorable time, I'll be able to make the game and the wedding. Otherwise, I'm going to have to offload the tickets. So, but quite generously, the bride who invited me to the wedding said she doesn't even care how much of the wedding I make. She's happy for me to go to the TCU game. So I'm kind of hoping that happens. Anyways, so what do we have here? What can we say about both teams? Let's just get USC out of the way. It's a work in progress. Who knows? The only positive or feel-good story was Max Johnson coming back from the leg injury, getting into the game, and actually looking okay. Now, I don't know if that's because TCU by that time had already taken their foot off the gas pedal, but still, it was nice to see him coming back from a gruesome leg injury, thinking he might never play again, thinking he might lose the leg, to actually looking pretty good out there. So who knows? Maybe the disaster of this game and Gio Lopez getting hurt and then Johnson coming in and kind of looking good might be the start of him being the starter for this team and actually redeeming and the full redemption arc of his injury, maybe not playing football again to coming back and actually looking okay. And maybe that's the start of something for UNC, but we'll have to see. That's to be determined. And obviously there's a ton of work to do, and we'll see if Belichick and that staff can actually learn from what just happened here and realize what it is they have to work with. Now they know what live bullets look like in a college game, and okay, what can they do? So now we'll see what kind of coach he really is with whatever materials he has. It could just be that his guys just aren't good enough, and you can't coach. There's no coaching up a team that just purely doesn't have the personnel. That very well could be what we're looking at here with UNC. They might just not have the personnel. Okay, so that's what we can say about UNC. What are we going to say about TCU? The final takeaway here is they look strong. Hoover looks good. Everything looks good. I mean, that's my point. It's almost too good. Like this to me is the same as if they just beat up an FCS team. You know what's interesting? I saw a game about 4 or 5 years ago. Clemson was playing an FCS team, and they just called it. The two coaches agreed to end the game with 5 minutes to go. I've never seen that before. I didn't know you could do that at major college football, but I guess if both coaches agree, you can just call the game. And I mean, do you remember this? Did you see this? I remember, I don't think I'm imagining this. I'm positive I saw this, where it was an FCS team. It was 50-something, nothing. And you could tell the other schools kind of discouraged. And I think one of the kids had just maybe fumbled a kickoff, or he had a really bad thing where he caught the kickoff. This is before I think you could just wave off of an opening kick, and you had to at least field it. And instead of fielding it and taking a knee, and then they down it in the end zone, and then you get it on the 20, he fielded it and just handed it to the ref, and the ref just stepped away saying, "I can't, like, what are you doing? You have to take a knee." And then I think Clemson just picked it up, and it was a touchdown. And it was kind of sad. It was obvious, like, let's just get this over with. Like, no one's having fun anymore. And they just called it. They just said, we're not even going to play the next 5 minutes. And both coaches agreed, and then they just cut the game short. So I actually thought that might, as pathetic as that is, that could actually happen here. It was getting so ugly. And then once Lopez got hurt, I thought, oh my God, are they just going to call this one? Like, why even? We're really going to see this thing through to the end. But maybe that's a pretty drastic step for UNC to take, like calling a game. There was no way they're winning this game or getting back into it, but I guess you have to at least finish the 60 minutes. So, but anyway, so with all of that said, TCU is clearly just in a different league than UNC. That's about all we can say here. It looks good, obviously, but again, I don't know how much we've just learned about TCU, other than they're at it functioning at a completely different level than UNC. But I would guess that Sam Leavitt and the Arizona State would do this to UNC, and I would guess Texas Tech would also do this to UNC, and Iowa State would probably do this to UNC to some degree. Like, I think those are the teams you have to be concerned about, and I wouldn't put too much faith in I don't think you can project much into the future off of this for when they start playing like established teams in the Big 12. I don't know. I don't know if I'm downplaying how good of a win this was. I mean, it's obviously a good win, but when it gets this ugly, I think as a Horned Frog fan, I think you can honestly look at that saying, okay, yeah, we're clearly the better team, but there's something wrong with North Carolina. Like, North Carolina is undermanned. They just weren't ready for this game. It was a mess of a game. And if it wasn't for that opening 83-yard drive that the North Carolina had, for the rest of the game, North Carolina had maybe 120 yards for the rest of the game, 130 yards for the rest of. That's how awful this was. And a good chunk of it was when Johnson came in and it just didn't matter anymore. So it was essentially, there was a no contest. This was basically, after that first drive, this was a no contest. There was no resistance at all. Like, North Carolina put up zero resistance on offense or defense. That they got owned on the offensive line and on the defensive line. I mean, everywhere you look on the field, they just had nothing. They just absolutely had nothing. TCU just overwhelmed them at every position to a man. So, I mean, Dwyer looked good. Barnes looked good. Hoover looks like Hoover. They all looked good. But again, I'm not so sure as to what we're going to learn by what's interesting, and the player I expected to see more of was McAllister. But maybe the one thing, maybe in UNC's the one bright spot for UNC is whoever was guarding McAllister is their number one corner, and actually did a pretty good job of keeping McAllister out of the game. He had 3 catches for 20 yards, but from what I understood and from what I remember and from what I was expecting this year was McAllister was going to be the new number one receiver. And if they did manage to take him away, it kind of didn't matter because Jordan Dwyer went bananas for 136 yards. So, again, I don't know what we really learned from this game, but TCU looks good. They deserve the shirt. They earned the shirt. The helmet's right there, and they earned the purple lights for today. Anyways, that's all I got for this one. I definitely wanted to make this one about TCU, even though, like, we can't learn too much about them, but nice, strong performance. You guys got to be, TCU fans, you got to be happy as you move into Big 12 play in the next few weeks here. Like, it's got to feel good. No matter how bad UNC is, it's got to feel good to put a proper beating on another Power 4 team, even if they performed like an FCS team. All right, well, that's all I got for this one. Let me know what you think in the comments. Also, if you're still here, appreciate you being on the channel. I know you've got tons of options to watch, and I know our channel's tiny. So we just started last year, so this is only our second year at it. I usually have a co-host. Some of these shows I do by myself. So anyways, if you like what I got going on here, appreciate it if you give me a like, and or if you want to watch more, maybe subscribe. That'll help out, but only if you like it. And even and or share it if you think somebody else would appreciate the content. But either way, appreciate you being here. And that's all I got for this one. And we also cover football. That's what football. We also cover NFL. That's why we call it Saturday versus Sunday. So come back and check out our coverage of the NFL and next week's NCAA action. All right, we'll catch you later.